Hello and welcome, Pies Big Footy fans. It's GETSOMENUTS here, your host today, flying solo. Can't have the mighty T with us. Today he's unavailable, and today we have a very special guest with us. Joining me, the number 7 for the Pies, Mr. Ben Kennedy. Ben, how you going?
Not too bad, thanks.
That's alright. How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been not too bad. Just been training away and did some weights and stuff now. So finished up for the day.
Fantastic. Now, Ben, whether you know or not, I don't know, but the Collingwood Big Footy board is sponsoring yourself, so we've got a lot of listeners who'd be delighted to have you on today.
Yep, aware. I think I've gone to breakfast and had a dinner and stuff with a few of the few people that I've met through there, so they're all good blokes, and very happy to have Big Footy sponsoring me.
Fantastic. Now, can you tell us about when you first got to Collingwood, your first impressions of the place when you arrived?
Well, I suppose, I wasn't really too sure leading up in the draft where I was going to end up, but I was very happy to find out that I did get picked up by Collingwood, and I suppose that I was going there with Brodie and Tim, especially being friends with them before the draft. So I was over the moon. Collingwood was such a great club, and I think from the moment that I came here, I sort of settled in pretty well and got some good mates here, and so very much enjoying the place.
Awesome. Who did you sort of bond with when you first arrived?
I think when I first got to the club, Pendle sort of took me under his wing in terms of that, sort of mentoring me through and sort of getting the gist of everything. So I probably have to say him, and but then he helped me from a football point of view, and I suppose somebody like a Marley Williams sort of helped me with settling in a lot more, where it's sort of would take us out for dinner and things like that sort of stuff. So. No, the boys are great. Everyone sort of played their role in that sort of thing when we first came along. So, all the boys were great.
Oh, fantastic. Did you find it difficult coming across as a young lad from interstate and moving here with no family?
Not particularly. I was sort of pretty independent before I moved across. Sort of had a job and all that sort of stuff, and I was I suppose the AIS and things like that sort of got me ready for whatever was to come, and I knew realistically I probably wasn't going to stay in Adelaide, given the Crows sort of lost their first round draft pick and whatnot. So I was pretty ready to come across interstate, and had pretty familiar with Melbourne as well. So I was very happy to come across here.
Okay, fantastic. You played with Glenelg and got all Australian under-18 honours in 2011 as a bottom age player. That must have been pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I've still got some very close mates that I made in there, and I suppose that helps too with some of them coming across and playing in Melbourne as well. So I'm very lucky to have played in that under-18s competition, because I've got some really lifelong friends out of it, especially ones outside of Adelaide. Okay,
fantastic. Did you have a lot of clubs from that under-18 carnival? Did you have a lot of clubs sort of talking to you, give you an indication about you were going to get drafted, or?
Well, you never really know, I suppose. I didn't have that many in my bottom age year. I suppose I went to draft camp both years, but not really many in the first year, and then second year, I suppose. Clubs speak to you, but they never really give you an indication of how keen they are or what they're going to do. So, I mean, you always go on a draft day, sort of not knowing what's going to happen. So, I was sort of prepared for anything.
Fantastic. And just when it came down to the draft day, can you talk us through? You nervous, or you're pretty calm? How'd that all go?
I was a little. I was pretty nervous. I sort of I spent the day sort of just shopping really with a few close mates, trying to get my mind off it, and then and then I suppose I went down to the local footy club where I just grew up. And then just sort of took the footy around and stuff, so try to get me to sort of stop thinking about it and all that, and then just watch the draft with just the close family. Didn't really want anyone else there. So, and then when my name got called out, that's when all my mates and they came over. So, no, it was a pretty exciting day, and it was one that I suppose I'll remember forever.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I for one, and I'm sure all our listeners are very happy that you've come to the Pies. Was it a little bit better having Grundy's name read out before yours, a mate of yours previous?
Oh yeah, I suppose that was pretty unreal. considering I suppose he was touted to be probably a top tenner, so I wasn't really, well, it never really crossed my mind to think that I'd probably end up at the same club as him, I suppose. So, I mean, that was a massive surprise, and Brodie was my best mate in that state under 18s, and one of my best mates just in general, really. So I was, very, very happy to have him come across, and we've been good mates ever since. So he's definitely helped. As I'm sure I've helped him sort of moving across, and so I'm very lucky to have him, and it's been great since we've been here.
Oh, fantastic. Excuse me. Now, with last season, you didn't get your first game until round 6. You played well at VFL level. Previous to that, do you want to talk us through the lead up to your first game? Bucks or anybody give you the indication that you were in the side, or how'd that go?
I suppose, well, like any team, I suppose you got to prove your worth in the twos, and I suppose I played a bit inconsistent when I first started the year in the VFL, and then I reckon I strung maybe two or three okay games together, and I think my last one was okay before they gave me the nod to play. So I was very happy, and I suppose coming up as a sub in my first game was good. Sort of gave me a good feel to what the tempo and stuff was like. I suppose coming up with fresh legs as well sort of gives you that extra than what everybody else has got, so you get to maybe acknowledge it a little bit more. So I think it certainly definitely helps you. Getting to play a few games last year sort of put me in good stead for this year, I think. So
yep.
Pretty happy about that.
Fantastic. Now, almost famously, I suppose, but a lot of our listeners wouldn't know that you arrived late to your first game when you had to run almost the length of Collins Street. You want to talk them through that? I suppose I was still relatively new in Melbourne, and especially I hadn't really travelled into the city a whole lot. Lived out in Kew last year, so I think that was probably one of the second. But I hadn't been to the city much at all, so I wasn't really too sure about the traffic, and I certainly learned pretty quickly when I came down here that it's a lot different in Adelaide. There was maybe a few late to a few sessions early on, so got pretty used to that. But I was not prepared at all for what Collins Street would be like. So I suppose I don't know, I must have just misjudged what it was going to be like, and got to Collins Street, I think just about with about 5 minutes to go before we needed to be there, and 20 minutes in, we probably moved only maybe only 100 or 200 metres, so I was thinking, I'm just going to have to get out and run, so I just went and ran to the game, and mate in the passenger seat just took over. Awesome. What did Buck say to you when you got there?
Oh, he was fine. I think I was just overreacting a little bit in terms of, when something like that happens, you just automatically go to worst case scenario. I think, I was in my head, I was thinking maybe I won't play, and maybe you'll see this is, maybe I don't want to play as much as other players and stuff like that. So, but no, when I got there, he sort of just calmed me down and stuff, and I suppose my heart was racing up until I did come on, but which maybe did help me. So it probably wasn't a bad thing, but no, it was good to have his support there.
Nice. Now, after round 6 last year to round 12, you played every game, but was coming off the bench in your first 4 as a sub. You become sort of a sub-specialist. Was it a little bit frustrating to always be the sub?
It was a little bit. I mean, I suppose Bucks would tell you I was probably in his office a fair bit trying to ask, what I had to do to get a full game, but I understood fully that, you got to prove your worth, and at that stage I probably wasn't ready to play a full game, I don't think, and no, I think that all the games that I've played as sub have certainly held me in good stead, and I'm only young into my career at the age of 20 now, so it's all just development for me and get me ready for, I'm probably not going to be peaking for another 3 or 4 years, so it's all just about getting me ready to play some good footy later down the track, and so I think that's, playing a sub, I'm just, at that stage last year, I was more so just happy to get a game.
Yeah, definitely. And also surgery at the end of last year for Compartment Syndrome. You want to talk our listeners through that?
I certainly struggled last year with my calves, just in terms of the blood flow wasn't sort of going through there enough, so particularly later in games, I sort of, I sort of found it really hard to run for a long distance, and also to kick as well. Sometimes I couldn't feel my feet, so I was sort of kicking on numb feet, which didn't help my disposal at all. So it's good to get that sorted out. So yeah, I had the surgery in the off season, and noticed it straight away coming back into training that they were fixed, and I haven't had an issue with them since. So it's been good.
Fantastic. Now this season your games played has been a little bit sporadic, but you played the last two, and last week I thought you played alright, pretty good. 18 touches and a couple of goals. How'd you go?
Yeah, I thought I was a bit inconsistent really last week. I thought that I'd come up and have a few possessions and impact, and then I'd sort of go missing for a few more minutes too. So I think I still got a bit to work on, and I'll keep working on that. But all in all, I think the coaches were sort of happy with me, I guess. So so I guess I gave it everything I had. So I think they were happy about that about that fact. So I suppose that's all I can really do. So I'm sort of pleased about it.
No, fantastic. Hopefully you stay in the side. Have you got an indication going forward about staying
I'm not
inside?
too sure. I think the team gets finalised tonight, so I'll know a bit more tonight. But I wouldn't have a clue.
Lovely. Just a couple of final questions, mate. Not the serious type ones. Who was your AFL idol when you were growing up?
Yeah, I was a big Cory supporter when I was younger. So Andrew McLeod and Mark Rashudo were probably my two players that I idolised growing up.
Good choices.
Yeah, probably Andrew McLeod more so. Just his class that he had off half-back flank, I just loved. And he was someone that I I really loved to watch. Used to go to a lot of their games as well. So they were great players to watch, and they were just amazing what they did. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'll probably have to say those two.
Awesome. Well, you've sort of answered my next one of who'd you barrack for growing up. Did you play any other sports as a kid?
Did I play what, sorry?
Did you play any other sports as a kid?
I played a bit of tennis. So my dad got me into footy when I was about probably about 10 or 11. So I think my mum got a little bit jealous and said she wanted me to play something that she chose. So I had to play tennis for her, and I didn't like it at first, but ended up really loving it, and I still follow it now and play a little bit when I can. So played a little bit of that, and I suppose I used to skate as well growing up a fair bit. So I was probably more into that than the footy up until I was about probably 14 or 15. So so I probably just did that and played a bit of tennis, and then apart from that I sort of just did pretty much any other sport I could get my hands on growing up. Sort of tried everything. So
Very nice. Who's the biggest practical joker in the locker room?
I think Maxie. My locker's right next to Maxie, sort of. So he plays a lot on me. So I don't know whether that's because I'm so close to him, or I don't know. But so I'd probably have to say Maxie, just in terms of he'll put things in your locker or move all your stuff. If you've left something out of your locker, he'll sort of try and teach you a lesson and hide it from you or something like that. So I'd probably have to say Maxie. Yeah.
Very nice. Does anyone control the music in the change rooms?
Out in the gym, Jackson Ramsey fancies himself a bit. He's plays some of what the younger boys don't mind. Like a bit of electronic or dubstep and things like that. So he controls that part, and then Youngie sort of controls the music when the older boys are up in the gym. So he doesn't mind some of that older stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Ben, I think we've got to get the hurry along. Time's up. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm sure all of our listeners will be rapt to hear your insights into your career so far, and we look forward to seeing you play a lot more games in the black and white, mate. So thanks for joining us.
No worries. Sounds good.